Good day everyone, I am Bayam Michelle Sincere and I will be discussing the functions of marking and grading. Today, I will begin by discussing the role of providing feedback as one of the core functions of grading according to Macmillan 2018. Feedback is not just about giving a score, but it is about communicating meaningful information which can help students understand three things. Number one, what they did well. Number two, what needs improvement. And number three, what specific steps they need to take next. Macmillan explains that when the teacher gives clear, specific, and timely feedback, yung mga students are better be able to connect their study strategies and their learning behaviors sa result na kanilang natatanggap. And this makes feedback a bridge between sa performance at sa improvement. Yung little feedback can also encourage self-regulation dahil nga yung mga students become more aware sa kanilang strength, sa kanilang weakness, and makatake sila ng responsibility for their own learning. However, the reading also highlights several issues in providing feedback. One common problem is that yung mga teacher may give insufficient feedback, such as yung pagbibigay lang ng ng simple comments like yung good work. While positive, this type of feedback does not tell students kung bakit nga ba yung kanilang ginawa ay good and how they can improve it. And another issue naman is that giving too much feedback or overwhelming siya sa mga students with marking and comments. Extensive red marks is not structured well. It can actually discourage students. Macmillan also notes that students face time constraint dahil dito, giving rich detailed feedback on every assignment is simply unrealistic. This leads to selective feedback practices, which must be intentional to be effective. Finally, feedback without explanation, such as yung pagbabalik lang ng mga test paper with mga scores lang, is makasend siya ng message that learning stopped once grading happened, and this undermines the purpose of assessment as tool for growth. Thus, yung feedback is essential, it must be balanced, actionable, and focused on improvement. Next is motivation, which is another functions of grading. So what is motivation? Motivation refers to how grades and feedback influence students' willingness to try harder, persist through the difficulties, and improve over time. According to Macmillan, grades can serve as an extrinsic motivator where they can push students to set goals, become more attentive, and work with greater effort. The reading also draws heavily on attribution theory, which ine-explain dito na yung mga students are more motivated when they believe na yung success nila is due to internal and controllable factors, such as yung kanilang effort and effective strategies. This means that the students become more confident and motivated when they feel they have control over their performance. However, yung grades can also present problems. One of the issue is that grade may create anxiety or pressure, especially sa mga students when they feel na yung grade nila is mag-define sa kanilang abilities. Another issue naman is that when yung teacher or yung system place too much emphasis sa grades, it may reduce intrinsic motivation, where the students may begin to work only for the grade instead sa pag-value ng learning itself. And to address these issues, Macmillan emphasizes pairing grades with clear, constructive feedback and focusing on mastery rather than competition. Now, let us move to the topic of using factors other than performance. Research, summarized by Macmillan, shows that teachers often use what they are called hodgepodge grades. These are grades influenced not only by academic achievement, but also by effort, attitudes, attendance, and other non-academic factors. Teachers do this based on their values, judgment of fairness, and perception of student needs. While these non-academic factors are important for developing responsibility and good learning habits, Macmillan warns that including them too heavily may affect the accuracy of grades in representing the actual academic performance. Effort as a factor. So, what is effort? Effort refers to the energy, persistence, and diligence of a student shows in completing a task. Teachers often considered effort in borderline cases, such as yung pagtaas ng grades from 89 to a 90, when students has shown consistent improvement. And this advantage is that recognizing effort promotes a growth mindset, and it can encourage students to persist even if the work is difficult. However, effort is hard to measure consistently kasi nga yung mga teacher differ in how they define it. Some look at the participation and others at the completeness or visible struggle. Including effort may also inflate grades even the academic performance itself is weak, and this may lead to students to rely on trying hard rather than demonstrating the actual mastery sa kanilang learning objectives. Attendance as a factor. Ano nga ba ang attendance? Attendance refers to the student's physical presence and punctuality. Some schools and districts even have strict rules such as automatic failure or loss of credit when the students exceed sa certain number of absences. Halimbawa, yung 15 to 20 na absences na. And Macmillan notes that although yung attendance support learning opportunities, but then it does not measure the actual learning. Students may be present but not engaged. Hindi sila nag-engage. Others may have legitimate reasons dahil sa pag-absent nila, such as yung illness or halimbawa, family issues or emergencies. But then, including attendance in academic grades may unfairly penalize them. So, therefore, attendance should be documented. But then, teachers must be cautious about allowing it to distort through academic achievement. Next is attitude as a factor, which includes respectfulness, cooperation, participation, and general classroom conduct. Where positive attitudes contribute to a better classroom environment and may support learning, yung mga teachers sometimes use attitude as grading factor para ma-encourage yung mga students na mag-participate, mag-behave ng responsibly, at mag-show ng initiative. However, yung attitude are subjective. Teachers differ widely on how they interpret participation or respect. Yung mga quiet or mga shy students may be rated lower even na they are learning well. Similarly, sa compliance may be mistaken for a genuine engagement. And this subjectivity can introduce bias into grading, where especially when the attitude are used para ipataas or pababa yung academic grades. And for this reason, Macmillan recommends reporting behavioral factors apart from academic grades, whether possible. The next major concept is the basis of comparison in grading, where Macmillan explains that grades are always comparative. The question is, what do we compare the student's performance to? So that there are three main bases of comparison, which are the number 1, individual student reference, 2, norm reference, and 3, standard base. First, individual student reference. Individual student reference grading or yung self-reference grading is that compares a student's current performance with their past performance or expected potential. Dito is ini-emphasize yung growth or yung improvement, not yung absolute performance. Students who improve significantly may receive higher grades, even na if they are not yet meeting the standard. However, yung method na ito also has issues. Kasi nga dito, yung grade can be inflated if ang low-achieving students magpakita lang ng minor improvement. It also becomes difficult to compare students because each has different baseline. And most importantly, yung method na ito is that hindi siya always naka-indicate whether yung student has met yung learning standards that the curriculum expected. Second is the norm reference. Norm reference grading compares a student performance to that of other students or our peers or other section or other group, where dito yung grades are distributed across a group, where it often form a curve with only a small percentage receiving the highest marks. And this system is useful for ranking students, such as in competitive academic programs. But then, si Macmillan is pinapoint out niya dito yung major concerns, where norm reference grading does not show mastery of the learning objectives. Dito, yung mga student may receive a high grade simply because other perform worse. It also encourage competition, which may discourage collaboration and harm the motivation of students who are consistently fall below the average. And lastly, the final and most widely recommended approach is student-based grading, wherein here, yung mga students' performance is kinukumpara siya sa specific set of clearly defined learning objectives or yung criteria, na kung saan dito yung mga grades are indicate how well the students have mastered the standard, regardless on how others perform. The advantages dito are clear. Number 1 is that students know exactly what is expected. Number 2, grades become more accurate representation of learning. And 3, teachers can provide more detailed, rubric-based feedback. However, dito naman is that yung standard-based grading comes with the challenges pa rin, kung saan teachers must use well-designed rubrics, i-apply nito consistently, and communicate the meaning of performance levels sa mga parents and students. Kasi nga, some of the parents use or sanay sila sa traditional grades na kung saan may maka-feel sila ng confusion when they see the performance categories instead na yung percentage scores lamang. In conclusion, effective grading requires teachers to make a thoughtful and informed decision, where feedback must be clear and constructive, motivation should be supported rather than harmed, non-academic factors must use cautiously, and the basis of comparison must match the purpose of assessment. And by understanding these concepts, teachers can design a grading system that are fair, accurate, and supportive of students' learning. Thank you, and that's the end of my report.